consider dropping us a few dollars. Every bit helps. We accept donations at Venmo, at Litquake, it's our address there, on PayPal at info@litquake.org, and directly at litquake.org. So let's get on with the show. I'd like to welcome from Foglifter, we have Misha and Dimitri.
Thank you so much, David. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And before we get started, Foglifter wants to wish you a happy Indigenous Peoples Day. To honor those whose land have been stolen, please take the time today to acknowledge whose land you are on with native-land.ca. Currently, I am residing on Tongva land.
And right now, I'm residing on Arapaho and Cheyenne land. If you are interested in more ways to support Indigenous folks on this special day, please head over to Foglifter's Twitter. Our pinned tweet includes a link to a mutual aid fund you can donate to, as well as a list of recent books written by Indigenous authors. Tonight, we are so happy to have all of you here for the launch of the new issue of Foglifter Journal. My name is Dimitri Martinez, pronouns he and him, and I was first published by Foglifter in the spring of 2019. Since then, I've participated as a 2019 Lambda Literary Fellow. I've won the 2020 Penn Robert J. Dow Debut Short Story Prize, and now I sit as Foglifter's Managing Prose Editor, which gives me the chance to offer so many other writers the opportunities Foglifter has offered me. I currently live in Denver, Colorado with my precious dog named Orlando.
And I'm Foglifter's Community Manager, Misha Ponaraju. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And aside from being a giant fan of Foglifter, I'm a dog mom to 3 Maltipoos. I am an aspiring stamp collector, an occasional poet, and instructor.
For those of you that may not know, Foglifter's Literary Journal is a biannual compendium of today's most dynamic, urgent, queer, and trans writing, a space where LGBTQIA+ writers celebrate, mourn, rage, and embrace. And we're thrilled to be celebrating our 10th issue with you all, especially because we've been honored with a Literary Journal Prize from the Whiting Foundation.
We're also really grateful for Litquake for hosting us during their incredible yearly celebration of Bay Area literature. Before we get started, we want to tell you about a couple of ways that you can send your work to Foglifter now. Well, not right now, but literally right after we get off this call. We're open for submissions right now for our next journal issue until November 1st. We really hope you feel inspired and uplifted by our writers tonight. Foglifter wants your weirdest, your most transgressive, tender, exuberant work. Visit our website to submit.
We're also partnering with Radar Productions and Still Here San Francisco to launch Start a Riot, a chapbook prize for Bay Area-based emerging Black writers, Indigenous writers, and writers of color. You can find more information on that and submit via our website as well.
Also on our website, you can buy your own issue of our latest issue that we are celebrating tonight. Our pre-orders are still going on right now, and it is such a beautiful, beautiful piece of literature. And you can also get our super cool beer cozies. So there's a lot of really great stuff on our website right now, so please check it out. Before we begin our reading, note there that there's going to be a quick question and answer session for our writers at the end. So feel free to use the Q&A feature below throughout our evening. I'm really excited to begin introducing the fabulous and talented contributors to this issue. So first up, please welcome Ching-In Chen. They're the author of Heart's Traffic, Recombinant, the 2018 Lambda Literary Award for Transgender Poetry, How to Make Black Paper Sing, and Kundiman for Kin, Information Retrieval for Monsters. Chen is also co-editor of The Revolution Starts at Home, Confronting Intimate Violence Within Activist Communities. So from your own home, wherever you are, please give a warm welcome and applause to Ching-In Chen.
Thank you so much, Misha, Dimitri, and the whole team at Foglifter. I'm really grateful to be included in this beautiful issue, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the rest of the work from my co-readers. And also thank you to Litquake for hosting our release party. I'm going to be reading some of the work that is published in Foglifter. En route family, December Haibun. No longer ask me who keeps my family in the thin, who returns to that shrub of a short house, a distant cousin sweeper paid to cry over a grandmother's bones, uncle with a thrown voice booming over a table full of crab we throw up for days. Weak, untrained stomachs not used to the storming of our bowels, keeping warm through layers of tea steepings. The whole gray day, the sky came down in slips of snake and skin. We shielded our eyes from what dropped into air. We stopped to ingest hot pepper and bits of unresined bread. At first, you didn't want any liquid, but regretted it when you saw that there was none left in the bowl. All the sop had gone running. All the mouths had closed down. No, she says, don't show me any more words for water, for your mess. Say no, I'm wailing home alone under the rain. Says there's not much left in my mouth for you. I finished my lesson, stayed in the hall, bit my puppy, tumbled with the after-school kids. There's only a length left, bolt of a push-down girl. She's a hard time coming. You don't know what she's got in her but sand. Don't know what else keeps her flying. No, she's not coming here. She doesn't want to hear any more stories. She's a thin line come down the street. You don't know her name. Thank you.
Thank you, Ching-In Chen. I'd now like to introduce Piper J. Daniels. Piper is a queer, anti-racist, intersectional feminist and mother to an extraordinary Chihuahua mix. Her debut essay collection, Ladies Lazarus, won the Tropicon Sky Book Award, was longlisted for the Penn Diamondstein Spielvogel Award for the Art of the Essay, and was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award in LGBTQ nonfiction. She is a founder and HBIC of Creative Consultation Collective, an instructional platform and manuscript consulting service dedicated to the support and proliferation of LGBTQ POC voices. Please welcome Piper J. Daniels.
Hi. Okay. Hello. I would like to say an enormous thank you to Litquake and to Foglifter and in particular, Misha and Dimitri for bringing these incredible writers together. I am so honored to be here tonight. A quick note about this piece, which appears in Foglifter. In the second section, there's a quote from Ocean Vuong, which is only visually indicated, so I'm gonna gesture so you know that it's oceans, even though you probably know anyway. So this is called Our Apocalypse, a Disaster in 3 Movements. 1, music. Midway through removing her brain tumor, surgeons wake the violinist to hand her the bow, then the body of the violin. With her skull exposed to the surgery suite, she picks up the instrument and begins to play. This is the only way to ensure that the crucial areas controlling delicate movement in her left hand haven't suffered significant damage. A team of surgeons, therapists, and anesthetists consult the map they made of her pre-surgery brain, monitoring the active areas. What does she play? Gustav Mahler, Julio Iglesias, George Gershwin's Summertime. The team successfully removes 90% of the tumor, including all areas of aggressive activity. I return to this because I love the way she plays with her eyes closed, the way the surgeons gathered at her crown, lit like angels in a Renaissance painting, continue their methodical carving unmoved. I return because I want to know what it's like to love anything that much. I want to know, in the moment the scalpel moves through the right frontal cortex, whether or not I would know you that way, with so much intimacy, whether your body would be rote memory for me. 2, migration. In another life, I rose early to feed first you, then the hummingbirds. And we'd smoke and drink coffee and marvel at the hummingbirds' ferocity and the fact that at the end of migration, they'd return inevitably to the very same branch of the very same tree. Having been in love since we were the only queer souls in town, age 13, I think we found comfort in this, the ferocity of the hummingbird, and the notion that his returning home was a skill and a miracle of evolution, rather than a default or a disappointing choice. I recently learned of the Arctic tern, a bird born in Arctic spring when the sun shines 24 hours a day. The way this bird, addicted to daylight, leaves every fall when the sun grows thin, cleaving the globe to reach the Antarctic, where the endless day is replicated. You were terrified of me, of my darkness, your body speaking tense sentences beside me, your eyes filled with the rush of all you hoped to outrun. To be fair, I saw your sunshiny obsessions, your belief in heaven as weakness, though the difference is I never stopped you from praying. Did you ever consider that maybe we pray on our knees because God only listens when we're this close to the devil? Or did you forgo that thought and others like it because it's enough for you just to be on your knees? 3. Ma. The only thing of consequence at the moment is the virus, initially indicated on the map by a few red freckles scattered across the face of China. The virus is wildfire now. It is global, doubling on itself daily, spreading beyond our capacity for containment. I'll admit that the breadth and depth of my apocalypse research was conducted via zombie flicks and action films in which everybody stares at the sky, waiting for the asteroid to obliterate. The hero is a cis-het hot guy, or a cis-het guy with a gun, or a cis-het asshole in a spacesuit. And beneath the tepid dialogue swells Aerosmith's "I don't want to miss a thing." And people learn in these films to be fearless, to liberate themselves from the scars that stood between them and love. No one ever wonders what they're worth, our lives, these tiny offerings, if the virus is coming in waves to take them back. You told me once that I was beautiful, that when I entered a room, I transformed it the way a cello might. Your brutality was a secret eventually, that I was incapable of keeping from myself. I left. 3 days later, the virus came. The bodies are carried through back doors, deposited into refrigerated trucks that hum down back hallways. We have been drawn into a new calculus, writes Ariana Reigns. We've all become strangers on this planet, gazing upon the empty streets from the relentless room where we've sheltered in place. And here it is, at last, as warned. The abyss, the way the abyss gazes back. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Piper. That was beautiful. Our next writer is Chekwube Danladi. Chekwube is the author of Semiotics, UGA Press, September 2020. Selected by Evie Shockley as the winner of the 2019 Cave Canem Poetry Prize. From Lagos by way of West Baltimore, she currently lives in Chicago. Welcome.
Thank you, Misha, for that introduction. And thank you to Foglifter and Litquake for making space for us this evening. It's nighttime here in Chicago, but I'm still really excited to be here. I'm going to read 2 poems from Semiotics, one of which appears in Foglifter. This first poem is called That Which Means. Predisposed to worry too much, the growing sense of being sick of y'all. Having married God to non-entity since I'm in the house and I don't need nobody, come bother me. Broody, moody, nude in half-light. Yet touch me, and I will show you pepper. My song is on repeat a dirge, through time ignoring Ma's warning. Child, put a lid to your pot. Don't let or leak so freely, or allow ire to mark its sentence, the bark of skin scored by blade, the weakest entries ritually transformed, were it to let any grievance through. Now seeking to my healing by constriction, this new interest in being gagged, bound to my ease. Yet when the hands go home, I pour some E&J in a bottle top for Kaka Alta and Granny Bertha. Plenty down throat per the healer's orders, eyes set towards the spirit world's entry, entreating grannies, not aunties, their warning. Don't give this flesh away so freely, for foes can do black magic from you, the sound and spit that's left behind. How to explain then the magic I do? Grown but breath still smelling of milk, inclined to wade long where the rapture spills, an affinity for which colony? Of no known nation but exile. In mortal state, my dignity sees quickly the long dead thirsting most persistently. Don't come for me and mine, for loving vice. You who have killed off tougher of us. We who remain, what are we to do? Time's jagged moves offering so little, suggesting only the pithy night for comfort, tuning into the haunt's counsel. Don't pander after elegies, child. Earth ain't even hungry for you yet. Spontaneous repulsion. Times look to us a tensile hook and tug, taught best by the natural world's anguished kinks. Bird in a gator's teeth, lush afterglow of unrepentant earth, having given itself to be scorched. Then us who better to catalog our failures, having been inside each at the same time, grounded by eating overripe figs, thanking the table's barrier, asking aloud for coffee, close call to feeling, a monophony of coyotes, this one brave as hell, strutting in here all overripe, braved coming into hair hell. Come, my sickly smell, pull the corner store still frame at its grubby edges, our flower dress mid-thigh, waist beads showing through loosened buttonholes, the aroused hum of such hungry hours, or because of our growing into mother's face, of us who's not inclined, so ask some days to name a child, theoretically. Who but she knows tomorrow the name we give, and I'll write that. But the body barks back constantly. Dark elbows, barbelled nipples, clanking the plexiglass display. Swisher sweet, a bamboo bitch, skin lightening cream. Nothing cares to hold past one long maybe. Envision mother in ourself, in the whirl, holding back. The days we bit our lip in glee, when Ma's hands hovered over, our childish heads never still. Ma's hand pulling the plates too hard, initiating our apart. Thank you.
Thank you, Chekwube. It's so nice to see you again since our time at Lambda together last summer. I'd like to now introduce J.S. Kuiken. J.S. Kuiken is a queer American writer. He earned his MA in creative writing at the University of East Anglia. In 2013, he was a Lambda Literary Fellow. Most recently, he was a winner of Project Outbreak's audio play competition. He likes to take naps with his cat, Beatrice. Welcome.
Thank you, Dimitri, for that lovely introduction. And thank you to Foglifter, which is both Misha and Dimitri, and LitQuest. Was it LitQuest? I've been on Zoom all day. So, but I just wanted to thank everyone for all that. And I'm very humbled to be here because I recognize a lot of these names. And I'm just kind of going, whew. So I'm going to read from the short story I submitted to Foglifter, if my phone will behave. And the short story takes place in Florence. There's an American guy who sees an Italian guy, and the American guy is transgender, and he sees the Italian, and he's like, hot damn, that guy's a hot, so I'm gonna go get him. So that's kind of the story, and interestingly enough, the Italian ends up kind of luring him in his own way. So they're in the Italian's apartment right now. They sat in a pair of old leather easy chairs, drinking, watching the night deepen through the opened windows. Alex liked it. He's the American. The silence and warmth between them. It wasn't uncomfortable. The fact they didn't know each other's language wasn't pertinent in that moment. They both knew another language, where speaking was in the gaze, in the mouth and the hands, where vowels and consonants were but the grab and grind of two bodies, where punctuation was a tremor of anticipation and a leisurely wait while drinking wine. He was still mulling this over when Luca put his empty glass aside and stood. Alex saw him coming through the bowl of his glass, and then felt Luca's hands on his thighs, warm and heavy. He parted Alex's thighs with such calm and assurance that Alex almost groaned. Luca's hair was sand and silver over his eyes as he knelt, and his hands were big, strong, just the way Alex liked them, as he stroked between Alex's thighs. Alex jolted, falling over the arm of the easy chair and shattering his wine glass. Luca made noises which seemed to express concern, so Alex said, "Yes, I'm okay, grazie." He helped Luca pick up glass slivers from his wooden floor. Luca tried to mop up some of the wine. "I probably should go," Alex said. "Any second, this would, go from just a silly story to something bad actually happening." Luca pawing at his crotch had reminded Alex of that. Luca said something. "I'm going to go," Alex said, pointing to the door. Luca looked at him with some unreadable expression and then poured Alex another glass of wine. "Don't drop this one," he seemed to be saying. "Fuck." Alex knocked back half of it, and aware the other man was looking him up and down, decided to do what he came here to do, suck a guy off. One very delicious, lucky Italian. "Hey," Alex said, putting his wine glass down and getting on his knees. Luca jumped before Alex had a chance to even touch his zipper, flinging more wine on his floor and wall. "Shit," Alex said. "Sorry I scared you." They wiped up the wine, and Alex tried to say he was sorry again. Luca said something that sounded anxious, and he shook his head. He made some kind of gesture that Alex eventually understood. Luca wanted to go down on him, but not the reverse. Alex shook his head and said he wanted to go down on Luca. The other man shook his head and looked very forlorn as he did. What? Why can't I just suck you off? Alex asked, knowing he wouldn't get an answer. He didn't care. He should have just left. In fact, he should never have followed this man in the first place. He could at least be eating gelato and watching badly dubbed American movies at the hotel, instead of trying to negotiate sex with a stranger. Luca mumbled something and continued to look doleful. Finally, Alex sighed. Luca wouldn't understand him anyways. Look, I'm transgender. I can't let you suck me off because what I have to suck is like the size of my thumb. I mean, I'm hot, my cock's hot, but you probably never slept with a guy like me. So please just let me blow you and then we can both be happy. Luca cocked his head. Transgender? Yes, I am. What? Alex said. His stomach clenched with fear. Transgender? Luca pointed at Alex. Alex didn't move, didn't breathe. Transgender? Luca patted his chest. Alex frowned. What? Transgender? Luca thumped his chest. No. See, he said. He rummaged through some boxes in a small closet and came out with a few old photos. He pointed at the main figure in each, a tall, long-legged person who could easily be mistaken for a girl. The person in the photos was younger, their jaw thinner and rounder, their shoulders slender, but there was no mistaking the lazy grin and bottle brown eyes. Jesus fucking Christ, Alex said. Luca smiled, his younger self the abstract image of the man he would become. The handsome, gorgeous man. Transgender? Alex said. Luca nodded. Transgender. Alex tapped his own chest. See? See. Luca began laughing, first, baritone deep, and then Alex, chortling with both relief and disbelief. Then something really peculiar happened. Alex, still laughing, kissed Luca on the corner of his mouth. Do not kiss one-night stands, a voice in his head reprimanded. But Alex kissed Luca again on the lips, and Luca responded in kind. Soft kisses, frightened kisses, the both of them trembling in one another's arms, because nothing like this had happened before, and not just with a one-night stand. Alex opened his mouth, and Luca did the same, drinking one another as their hands and arms wound around each other. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's see.
Thank you so much, JS. That was wonderful. Really, really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our next reader is T-Chan Lee, a poet from Texas. They've received fellowships from Brooklyn Poets and Kundiman. You can find more of their work in 8 poems, Breakwater Review, Apogee, Kuiken Journal, and elsewhere. They live in Brooklyn with their spouse and 3 cats, Piaf, Freddie Mercury, and Birdie. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Misha, for the introduction. Thank you so much to Foglifter and Litquake for having me. I'm so honored to be among this lineup. I'm just going to read one of the poems that is in this issue of Foglifter. God, give me a summer. One long hot lick across my shoulders while waiting in line for dim sum on Doyer Street. God, give me a summer that scorches like the rocking hakao under my tongue, breath panting over it to cool the dumpling, and it slips into my throat, and I say dim sum makes me happy to be alive before washing my teeth with bole cha, or God, give me rising seam of fadakbiet under my nose, or give me the waves of heat off a barbecue pit. God, give me a summer that runs through every dead razor-sharp yard in Texas, framed by sidewalks cooking through sneakers. God, give me a summer that sits on the skin the way a body can surf the dermis of ocean. Yes, God, give me ocean sounds like the crack of my first sprained ankle, a crashing end to hopping waves in Corpus Christi. God, give me a summer in bed, yes, a summer bedridden by unresolved imperialism-induced trauma. It's impossible to waste a summer, but is it possible for a summer to waste a body? God, give me an answer and let it be effervescence and sugar. Yes, God, give me popsicles, lollipops, Jolly Rancher, jelly beans, anything, melting sticky, adhering me to this earth. God, give me a summer, let sweat flow from neck to knee. Give me a summer when undressing out of wet clothes looks like slow molting membrane, when we're all cicada nymphs exiting exoskeleton. Thank you so much.
Thank you, T-Chan Lee. Your poetry is beautiful, and so are your rose-tinted glasses. Those were gorgeous. I'd now like to welcome Wryly T. McCutchen. Wryly T. McCutchen is a hybrid writer, interdisciplinary performer, community educator, and 2018 Lambda Fellow in Poetry. The work has appeared in Papichu Review and Nat Brut. Their debut poetry collection, My Ugly and Other Love Snarls, was published in 2017 by University of Hull Press. Wryly resides in the unceded Coast Salish, pardon my pronunciation, territories, where they cast spells in text and flesh and sweat. Please welcome Wryly T. McCutchen.
Thank you, Dimitri. And I also want to give a big thank you to Foglifter for inviting me here to read tonight, and to Litquake for hosting Foglifter. And thanks to all the rest of the poets who are here. It's fucking cool to be in community with y'all and your really amazing work. Cool, great to be here with all of you. I think I'm just gonna share the poem of mine that's in the new issue of Foglifter. Follow some mountain into a church parking lot. Only cry when moving legs he gave you. Something's gone from the weather. Seasons ain't what they used to be. Slip past a sticky guillotine behind a pickup speeds brazen into the space that frame once was before. The light hangs changed. Too salty-eyed, slow reflex, fuck scrapes lung, and air becomes irregular, unelemental. Gut punch to too alive a diaphragm, full but not wholly. Nothing fills your lungs more completely than your father's sudden absence from his. Horseshoes he flung, spraying luck, end over end, hungry for iron, for clang, but small thud. in the dense gray particles, then nothing. Stick a hand in, dig out something. Dirty nails. Try. What you want to write about him is anything else but he is dead. There. It be. Beast unseen. Beast both is and isn't in the room. It feels long. Before you feel it, stiff, 9 months, numb, then discover pleasure, discover grief, discover pleasure and grief as neighbors, secret siblings, perhaps even lovers. In this rendition, when spirit comes, interior wedges open the vast cathedral walls, organs still pumping with luck, and then the couple streams in together. Ocean of excruciating light, each photon bigger than the observable universe. Only then, wholly heaping, pristinely disordered endings falling over, into, and through until you're finished. You might also claim that this all began last night in the woods, when some divinely sculpted animal gave you back your grandmother name. As you belched her belch, between honeysuckling each other, you belched, they summoned Iris. Name of the dead father's dead mother who rattles through whenever a truly majestic belch makes conduit of your esophagus. A block from home, try to save a drying out sidewalk worm by spitting on it. Nudging soft body toward damp dirt, forget about January, forget freezing, forget the skin yellowing exponentially every time your legs ferried those survived by back through the emptied ward so that they might ache 3 hours after the body became a day-old bruise, the green before the bloom. Your earthworm turns out to be a twig. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wryly. I truly hope that all of you who are able to purchase our issue are able to, because I was following along, and just being able to look at the poem as well as hear it is such a treat. So thank you, Wryly. Our next reader is Zak Salih. Zak lives in Washington, D.C. His writing has appeared in Crazy Horse, The Rumpus, The Millions, the Katahachi Review, the Florida Review, the Los Angeles Review of Books, and other publications. His debut novel, Let's Get Back to the Party, is forthcoming in February 2021 by Algonquin Books. Let's welcome Zak.
Hi, thanks Misha, and thanks Dimitri. I'd also like to thank the organizers of Litquake and just this whole event. It's just a real treat to be in the company of such wonderful writers and to be part of the new issue of Foglifter. I'm going to be reading the first 2 sections from my story, which appears in the issue, and it's called A Life of Its Own. This section is called The Bud. In a warm purse, in a place beyond memory, cells divide. If there is a sound for what happens after weeks and weeks of division, to the metamorphosis from indifference into the first of a lifetime of differences, then science is deaf to it. Membrane stretches, fuses, separates into an aperture, an empty sac. Hormones invade, bombard, advance. Tissue creep halts a budding glands in mid-bloom. Cords and rings and passageways join a filigreed network of nerves and blood vessels that, in turn, join a developing bladder, brain, heart. Captured in sound waves, it echoes like a charcoal sketch out into the waiting universe, where a specialist in a white coat and tie with a small mustard stain below the knot confirms its presence to a man, Greg, and a woman, Erin. Greg recalls the imperfect map of his boyhood and sees the means to redraw it, Erin recalls the imperfect map of her girlhood and knows it will remain imperfect forever. Both of them, without whom its existence would be impossible, smile. Back in their apartment above a 24-hour laundromat in a congested American city, Erin excuses herself to take a nap while Greg calls his mother, his father, his aging grandmother out west. A thin wall separates the bedroom from the living room, so Erin must cover her head with a pillow to mute Greg's excitement, his laughter. It frustrates her, all this activity inside her body she can't see, the construction crews busy at work. Greg goes out for a beer, comes home 3 hours later half drunk and lays a sack of burgers on the bedroom nightstand like an offering at an altar. Erin says she's not particularly hungry. Greg says, "You need to eat. He needs to be strong." Erin stares at Greg, his flushed face, his dopey smile, the way he bounces on his haunches while he waits for her to unwrap her dinner. She's not sure whether she can say, yet, if she loves what's dividing unseen inside her, but she loves the man in front of her, and so, for his sake at least, she eats. She eats and eats while cells divide and divide. The generous alcove in their living room is painted blue and fit with a small crib beneath a mobile of felt fire trucks and footballs. Erin's swelling belly goes by new names: Champ, Buddy, Rockstar. She never imagined Greg could be so in love with something so stretched and distended. She never imagined she couldn't be. She walks through the city while cells divide. "It's not safe," Greg says. "It's good for the baby," Erin says. Greg insists on joining her, so she retreats into her mind while he talks about the future, while he holds her hand as if to keep her floating mind anchored to her body, safe from the selfishness of her sacrilegious disappointment. I wanted a girl. Cells continue to divide. Other things too. And this section is called The Token. Barely 2 days in the world and already under assault. Swabbed in antiseptic and numbing cream, stretched and clamped and snipped with a scalpel, caked in petroleum jelly, wrapped in a tiny square of gauze. Who has 2 more of these operations to perform before lunch, drops the fingertip of skin into an orange biohazard bag. There will be no memory of this maiming, this pain. Already he, for this is how Greg and Erin identify the baby, pays the injury no mind. He's too busy squirming on his back in this strange new existence while Erin changes a stained diaper and gingerly dabs the raw flesh with a lotioned pinky. Poor guy, Greg says when it's his turn at the plastic changing table, and he taps the tiny bulb to see if it registers pain. Greg watches from the kitchen, quietly jealous, while Erin sits in front of the television with the blue-capped parcel against her chest. He scrubs out bottles and nipples and milk bags, fingers already sore with paper cuts from a company audit. Ashamed, Erin can offer the baby sustenance from her body, while all he can do is heat milk on a stove. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zach. Your writing is so striking, and I can't wait for Let's Get Back to the Party. I'd now like to introduce Mimi Tempest. Mimi Tempest is a daughter of California. She's an artist, writer, and academic whose works are aimed at disrupting negative and stereotypical narratives around the iconography and constructions of Black and queer people. She is the 2019 winner of the Mary Merritt Henry Prize for a group of poems, and her debut book of poetry, The Monumental Misrememberings, is scheduled to be published in the fall of 2020. Please welcome Mimi Tempest.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to Litquake and Foglifter for having me, specifically Michael M.J. Jones, who really pushed for me to submit to this issue. I have 2 poems in this issue. One is a visual poem, and one of them I'm going to read for you today. Also, I think my grandma's watching this, so hi, Concha, I love you. And let's get going. All right, this poem is called On International, the Girls Are All Lined Up. A body didn't get the world right, a people did, right? Right. Right on the money that drips maligned between my thighs, right on the street that reveals sanctuary for none, right on the blood I saw hemorrhaged into blue after my mother gave birth to another Black daughter, right on right, directionless on the path designed for dizzy diamonds to sell, souls demonized by devils, turning tricks until saints, right on wrong, right on what's wrong, right on the breast that coup conquered alongside kindred feet in the metropolis, Black girls stripped of their emeralds, dancing, 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 dying, we mean dancing, shuck, jive, and shuck and drive, and shuck and lie, and shuck and cry, and shuck and fly, and shuck and play, and shuck and slave, and shuck all night, and shuck and stray, left on the corner of the veins that move varicose to the victory of false satiation, left on who did we lose today, left teetering the line of alive and almost always dead, left lapsed on repeat, missing / gone, left as in my daddy, we know how the sentence fucking ends, left like if I ever catch that nigga in the streets it's gonna be left, paying an innocence for the hell they hail, worth dollars like the left that the jab hurled on my own face, left in my body, the drugs I developed this itch for, left in the closet with my eyes staring lucid into the void. She was only 15. We made a pact that we would make it out together, and I made it out with wings branded on my back. And still they make their lefts on death row. The stolen relics are all lined up on sale, mouths, hands, use, and if the price is right, pussy, shit, always their souls. Shh. The choir of whores have taken the floor. Listen, they're saying he unzipped himself in front of me and placed the lie that we both know in my mouth. He confessed his demons inside for a fee until his tiny white angels all flew out on international. No angels flew past me. Angels flew past, know me, angels know me, flew past, flew me, the angels of people didn't get the world right. My body, the world didn't get a people, the angels did get my body, right? Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Again, these are poems that just like to hold them in your hand is something very, very special. So I really encourage you to buy them. Thank you so much for that wonderful reading, Mimi. Our final reader is Heidi Andrea Restrepo Rhodes, a queer Colombian Latinx poet, artist, scholar, and activist. Her poetry collection, In the Inheritance of Haunting, University of Notre Dame Press, 2019, was selected by Ada Limon for the 2018 Andres Montoya Poetry Prize, a 2019 Canto Mundo Fellow, and 2018 Vona alum. Her poems have been published in Poetry, Academy of American Poets, RASPA, Feminist Studies, and other places. Heidi was not able to be with us today, but we do have a wonderful recorded reading that she has generously sent in. And before we play that, just a gentle reminder that if you have any questions for our poets who are here tonight, please feel free to ask away.
Hi everybody, good evening. My name is Heidi Andrea Restrepo Rhodes. I just want to start by saying thank you to Foglifter and Litquake, everybody involved in making this reading happen. And thank you also to my fellow poets for this reading and this issue. for your incredible work. It really means a lot to be a part of this gathering in this way. I'm going to read 2 poems for you. This first poem is titled, "Them Bodies Never Saints," for Kelly. Having sown our one and many parts across the pleasure fields, our crime against the flesh is not what you think. If all the body were an eye, where would be my vision but in every limb? This is how we kneel. This is how seeing you began. Forget being machines, rally for the work stop, the gathering of muddy joy. Pray for open as God goes down, puts that whole wide mouth on me, sweats me, says let the lightning be a world, striking yeses from my hips until I perforate the wall with devotion, become a hell party. Ours strange, a witness to the body's riot, while God is a beast who moans too loud for hotel walls, and how high the mountain, how plenty the guests tonight and always. I pull out the church fear, a spine slipped from the body of fish. I dream, your chin glimmers, a relic bone breaking bread, all broken from home. Yes, God goes down into light, tasting me, says let me prove you with a writhing, for lovers of pleasure cannot be haters of holy. And today, this is how I prove pleasing. I remain uncontained. The crime is letting love go to waste, seeing all that beauty and spitting it out. It is too sad a thing to be good. My heart is a clock in a reckless and swollen hour, my third and hellion gaping unforgettable in the mouth. God savors me, will not forget. This next poem I wrote on my birthday, inspired by my dear poet friend Sabrina Gauss. This is called Let Me Count the Signs of Life Amidst the Planets Dying. It is my birthday, and the bodies are nowhere near done piling up. Though even in the sweeter years, the ones that read my mouth with pomegranate, this is true. We hurl through the heavens, a planet of purple evenings, blink-eye fairy tales, dreams at dawn. A planet of stone-cold violence and dread. The occasional feisty miracle. The bodies are never done, piling up. Though spring finds its way, even if the budding comes from the soil bed of the breathless. Open your ears. In the grasses sprouting, a universe sings. The birds, they bicker, and thank God they have something to bicker about. This too, a sign of life. It is my birthday, and the bodies we are nowhere near, my beloveds and I, all quarantined. I hunger for the warm house of your cheeks, the kisses before the province of the faraway forbade us, made us islands drifting. I am quarantined and mapless, but the starfish have returned. The maples weep their sugar for the bucket. I am quarantined and braid my hair to write a poem with my body. Stranded, we weave. I am quarantined and learning to better read the smile beam of eyes peering over the masked inlet. Beloveds, your bodies are nowhere near, and this is how we see another sunrise. And the bodies are nowhere near done piling up. Today, years ago, Marty gave me the light. Today, the spider knits home again by the window, and I plait my head's silky roost, and so we are, sister weavers. And tomorrow, still, I will quarantine. Me, the grain of sand inside the oyster shell, wanting a sooner than later glimmering. I'll grow older with the trees who stretch their arms to say yes, come near to me in my dreams, for now, while we are in the faraway, and when someday I am a soil bed of breathless, be the tulip by the window, be the bickering bird, be spring. Oh please, Oh, please be spring. Thank you.
We have come to the end of our readings this evening. We'd now like to open it up to general Q&As from our audience. If you have any questions for our readers, please enter them into the Q&A box below and Misha and I will moderate.
This was a beautiful evening of queer storytelling and writing, and we would like to thank all of our readers who participated tonight, as well as those who contributed to this incredible issue. We'd also like to thank the artists responsible for our beautiful, breathtaking cover, David Antonio Cruz. Just kind of wondering if there's any more questions before we move on to our final regards.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I goofed when I said Litquest, not Litquake. So I wanted to actually thank the actual organization. That's what happens when you work really long days.
So understandable in this current moment. Well, if we don't have any questions, thank you again to Litquake for hosting our virtual reading. Don't forget to check out our ongoing submissions for our upcoming spring issue and for our chapbook prize. If you love the works you read, please pre-order your copy of this issue today. It'll be on our website. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget to stay home as much as possible, wear a mask, and if you're able to, vote. Stay safe and stay strong, and we hope to see you very, very soon.
Thank you so much to Foglifter. That was absolutely stunning. Beautiful day, beautiful readings. It's been a fabulous Indigenous Peoples Day. So thank you all for attending, and please fill out the survey that will come on right after we close out the program. And remember that the Litquake Festival actually continues through the 24th. So there's something every day. Check out litquake.org. And especially our well-renowned Lit Crawl, the international version, is coming Saturday. So take a look for that. And we will, of course, accept donations on Venmo with the @Litquake or PayPal, or I should say hashtag Litquake, and PayPal at info@litquake.org and directly to our organization, litquake.org. So again, thank you very much. Thank you for the survey.